Have you ever stayed awake replaying someone's mixed signals in your head, trying to convince yourself that their inconsistency still meant love? That's the trap. The hardest relationships to walk away from are not always the toxic ones that obviously destroy you. Sometimes it's the almost relationships, the ones filled with just enough affection, attention, and hope to keep you emotionally attached while the other person quietly keeps one foot out the door. They text back, they check in, they say they care. Sometimes they even make you feel deeply wanted. But deep down, there's this quiet feeling that you were never fully chosen, never fully secure, never fully certain. And that's because some people don't keep you because they truly love you completely. They keep you because losing you would feel uncomfortable while they search for something else. And the scary part is this. Most placeholder relationships do not look unhealthy in the beginning. If someone treated you terribly from day one, you would probably leave immediately. But placeholder relationships survive on confusion. They survive on inconsistency. One day they make you feel special, the next day they feel emotionally distant. One moment you feel deeply connected, and the next moment you feel like you are asking for too much just by wanting reassurance. That emotional instability slowly changes you. You become anxious, over-aware, emotionally exhausted, and eventually you stop asking yourself one important question. Am I actually happy here? Because now you're too busy trying not to lose them. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the 5 biggest signs that you are being treated like a placeholder instead of a partner, why people do this psychologically, and how this kind of relationship slowly destroys your self-worth. Because placeholder relationships rarely break people overnight. They slowly drain them emotionally until they no longer recognize themselves. So, let's talk about the signs. Sign number 1. The future exists in conversation but not in reality. They talk about trips you'll take together, dreams you'll build together, maybe even marriage someday. The conversations sound emotionally intimate enough to make you believe the relationship is progressing. Maybe they say things like, "We should travel together one day. I can see us living together. You're different from everyone else." And for a moment, it feels real. But when you step back and look carefully, nothing concrete ever happens. No timelines, no real movement, no actual commitment. Months pass, sometimes years pass, yet the relationship emotionally stays in the same place. The future exists only in words. And words are easy when they are not connected to action. A person building a future with you eventually creates structure around the relationship. They make plans that are real, not vague fantasies that never materialize. When someone continuously sells you the feeling of a future without building one, they are often managing your hope instead of building your trust. And there is a massive difference between those two things. Sign number 2. You remain compartmentalized. You know them deeply in private, but somehow you barely exist in the larger structure of their life. Maybe you've never met their family. Maybe their friends barely know about you. Maybe your relationship is always kept vague. Or maybe they introduce you in ways that minimize what you actually are to them. At first, you tell yourself they're just private, but eventually, privacy starts feeling suspiciously similar to emotional distance. Because when someone truly chooses you, integration naturally follows. You become part of their world, not because they are trying to show you off, but because love naturally expands into someone's real life. When someone deliberately keeps you emotionally separate, it often means they are preserving flexibility, keeping options open, avoiding full attachment. You are being experienced but not fully claimed. And deep down you feel that difference, because there is a huge emotional difference between someone enjoying your presence and someone fully choosing you. Sign number 3. Your effort increases only when they feel you slipping away. This is one of the most confusing patterns, because the affection feels real enough to keep you emotionally attached. The moment you pull back emotionally, suddenly they become attentive again. More texts, more affection, more effort.
Suddenly, they seem terrified to lose you. But the moment you relax and feel secure again, the inconsistency returns. The emotional distance comes back. That's not emotional stability. That's emotional regulation. You are watching someone maintain access to you without increasing genuine commitment. And over time, this becomes addictive because your nervous system gets attached to the emotional highs that appear after periods of uncertainty. The occasional affection starts feeling incredibly powerful because stability has been missing for so long. You stop chasing love, you start chasing relief. And many people stay trapped in these relationships because every temporary improvement feels like proof that the relationship is finally changing. But temporary effort is not the same as lasting intention. Sign number 4. Clarity feels dangerous in the relationship. Whenever you try to define the relationship, something uncomfortable happens. Maybe they become defensive. Maybe they say labels ruin things. Maybe they accuse you of rushing them. Maybe they say, why can't we just enjoy what we have? And somehow you end up feeling guilty for wanting reassurance. But healthy relationships do not punish people for seeking clarity. A person who genuinely sees you in their future may not always have perfect answers immediately, but they will not consistently avoid the conversation altogether. Ambiguity benefits the less committed person. The longer things stay undefined, the longer they receive emotional companionship without full accountability. Meanwhile, your anxiety quietly grows in the background. You begin overthinking everything. Tone changes, response times, energy shifts. Tiny emotional changes suddenly feel enormous because the relationship itself lacks stability. And slowly you start abandoning your own standards just to preserve the connection. That is one of the most dangerous parts of placeholder relationships. They don't just break your heart, they slowly retrain your self-worth. You begin convincing yourself that wanting consistency is too much. You become afraid of expressing needs because you fear pushing them away. And eventually, you start silencing yourself emotionally just to keep the relationship alive. Sign number 5. Your intuition has been warning you the entire time. Before the evidence, before the confusion became impossible to ignore, you already felt it. That subtle feeling that you were emotionally leaning further into the relationship than they were. Like you were carrying emotional weight they never fully picked up. But instead of trusting that feeling, you explained it away. They're busy. They're scared. They've been hurt before. They just need more time. And maybe some of those things are true. But understanding someone's wounds does not change the reality of how they are treating you. One of the hardest lessons in relationships is realizing that empathy can become self-abandonment when it constantly overrides your own emotional needs. Your nervous system notices patterns before your conscious mind accepts them. That uneasy feeling was not random. It was your body detecting inconsistency, hesitation, emotional distance, and imbalance long before your logic caught up. So, what do you do when you finally realize you are someone's placeholder? First, stop trying to become harder to lose. A lot of people respond by playing games, becoming distant, acting less interested, trying to trigger pursuit. And yes, it may temporarily increase their effort. But if someone only values you when they fear access to you, that is not genuine commitment. You cannot build emotional security through manipulation. Second, stop listening only to what they say. Watch what consistently happens. People reveal commitment through patterns, not promises. Anyone can describe a future. Anyone can say they care. Anyone can promise eventual readiness. But consistency reveals the truth. And finally, accept the cost of waiting. Every year spent trying to convince someone to fully choose you is a year spent unavailable to relationships where choosing you would have been natural. And over time, the damage compounds. You shrink your needs, lower your standards, silence your intuition, until one day you barely recognize the version of yourself that entered the relationship in the first place. You were never meant to beg for emotional certainty. You were never meant to earn basic commitment, and the right relationship will not leave you constantly decoding mixed signals. Real love brings peace faster than confusion, and the moment you stop accepting placeholder treatment, you create space for relationships where you are not merely tolerated temporarily, but fully chosen permanently.